All right, we are live. Welcome to Passive Prospecting. My name is Levi Lascsak, and thank you for joining us today. And hopefully everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. We took last week off, of course, to spend some time with friends and family. Hopefully you did as well. I'm sure you did. So we're back at it, back on schedule now, and back in the gym, back on the diet. Okay, I tell you what, I did gorge a little bit last week on some peanut butter pie. I tell you what, that's kind of my Achilles heel when it comes to Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's my time to typically eat a whole peanut butter pie, but just a slice a week, or a slice a day, for the whole week at least. Sometimes a slice and a half, but yes. And I have to do that. Just got to do it. And if you haven't had peanut butter pie, you're missing out. You should give it a try. Let's see who we got. Krissy, what's up?
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Good.
How's that new microphone working out?
Top notch.
Top notch. Good to hear. How was Utah? I know you went back and
it was great. We were sent off with a giant whiteout. So it reminds me again why I don't live in Utah because of the snow. So it's nice to come home to 65-degree weather at home.
There you go. What that's your family in Utah, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is Chris's family in Georgia?
In Georgia. Yep, they're just up the street from us. So
there you go. All right. Well, it depends, depends on the family, right? Sometimes once a year is just enough.
Yeah. My family comes out here a lot too. So we try to swap places every once in a while. So it was fun to go out and see everybody. I got to see my best friend's little baby and everything. So it was a good family and friends reunion, if you will.
All right, good deal. All right. We see a lot of you out there already getting kicked off. So hit us in the comments. Let us know. Hit us up with questions. We're here for you, of course. That's why we come on each week. I talk to myself all the time. So that's why I like some interaction now. So hit us up in the comments if you have any questions. See, we got a couple of people in the green room hanging out. I don't think I saw any. Do we have some channels we left over or any?
I don't think so. I think we addressed all the ones from last week, and I don't know. I'll go check the group and see if anybody had some last minute submissions, but I don't think that I saw any that were submitted this week. So we could just talk about some general things that we're working on if that's the case. But I'll pop over and check.
Okay. So, all right, what's up, Blake? How you doing, man? Let's see. What camera do you use to stream? Levi and Krissy love these lives. Thank you. Also, what are you seeing with growth on your channel right now with higher rates? All good questions. So, Blake, let's see. What camera do I use? What do I have? I don't even know. Hold on. It is. Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay, I've got the Sony A6400, and it was funny. I don't know. We got Alex, our camera guy. He because otherwise I still use my iPhone. By the way, I still use my iPhone, which they have plugins now. You can set up your iPhone and stream from that, and use it as a webcam, which the cameras are amazing on there. So you could do that. But of course, here for the setting, I've just got a Sony A6400 set up. But I didn't even have that for a year, the first year, because I still used my iPhone. And I still use my iPhone till this day for vlogging. And I still use my iPhone 11. I actually have a iPhone. What did I just upgrade to? I don't know if am I on the... maybe I'm on the 13, so I have a 12. So what I did is instead of, turning in my old phone or getting rid of it, just keep your old phone. So that becomes my vlog camera. And what I did, here's a quick trick and tip, you could say, is like, this was just set up right beside me. I just got off of a podcast interview, and I have another one this afternoon. But what I like to do is I will set this up right beside me off to the side. So if you've ever looked at my Instagram, you'll see there's a lot of reels on there. There's a lot of reels of there where you see me from the side. You'll see me like this talking, and it looks like I could be talking to no one. But the thing is I'm actually talking to somebody on the computer, doing a coaching call or a training or something like that. Or like today, I did a podcast. Well, guess what? during a podcast, guess what they do? They ask you a lot of questions. And so they, if they ask you a question, it gives me the opportunity to talk for 5 or 6 minutes. Sometimes I'll talk for 10 minutes, because if they ask me anything about YouTube, I'm just going to go off for easily 10 to 15 minutes. But with this setting up right beside me off to the side, it captures all of that. And so what's funny is you can kind of see how I set it off to the side. I'll do a little hit play, see if it pops up. Email streams, things like that. And then we'll talk about your book. So he's just kind of explaining, but I just stuff like that. Oh, that's coming off a Dropbox. That's why it took a little time. But anyways, the thing is that let me go back to photos and click on here. But anyways, you can see the whole time. So I'm sitting there talking to him. You can see the motion. I'm talking to him this was a 50-minute podcast, but he's asking me the question. So I'm the subject matter expert, right? I'm the content for him. But for me, I just recorded all 50 minutes vertical format right off to the side. And now I'll send it to the team. They'll chop this up into 30, 45, 60-second clips. So we'll get easily probably 20, maybe 30 reels from this one moment. Same thing we talked about from yesterday. Anytime I just do content, we repurpose it over and over and over again, and we chop it up different ways. But so now the podcast that had me on there at the end of it, they're very nice about this. Usually, they'll say, hey, I'll send you all of the video files, everything you need. But then we're waiting on them, depending on them. And so for us, we would rather capture like this, because at least now I can chop up reels, but ultimately it's their podcast. And so I don't have control over when they publish that podcast and when we can link to it or anything like that. And sometimes these people are out 30, 60, 90 days. And so we may not see that for the next 60 days. Well, I can't, share it or refer to it or things like that. So, but I have my own content now that we can easily chop up for reels. And now once if they do send me the files, which again, usually they do send me the files, then we can have that material that we can chop up as well. And so that's the opportunity of documenting versus creating. But this is it. You have my microphone on there, my little Shure MV88, and that's just set up so that captures very good audio. Actually, this guy's giving me all the information I need. I might as well call him. And whenever they call us, they've already made the decision they want to work with us. And so we don't have to sell them on, working with us, or they don't call us and say, hey, I'm thinking. So that's how I'm able to produce so much. It's why somebody told me the other day, they're like, Levi, you're always in my Instagram feed. It's like, how do you have and do so much? And it's like, well, because I document, I have a lot of conversations throughout the day, whether that's training, coaching, doing this. And I could even have this, I should have had this set up to the side right now anyways, but we've got plenty of content, trust me. So if I miss a time or two, I'm okay with that. And we cover quite a bit. So, but still use my iPhone 11. It has no case on it, of course, but I just keep it. It's like a dead phone, so to speak. And I'm always there, and I can have it and pull it out. And I have a 12 because I got the 13, and I could use that 12 for, I could upgrade my 11 to a 12 basically, but it's still, it's still just such a good quality camera on there. I should go ahead and do that. Just haven't taken the 1 minute it would actually take me to do that. So now that I think about that, I've got to find that because it's laying around here somewhere. Yeah, we're upgrading. I'm actually redoing studio. So I had an Airbnb in the back of my house. And what I realized was, which has been very good for me for the last couple of years, pays my mortgage, which is great when you live for free. Very nice. But the thing is that having people come and go out all the time out of your backyard, not really a big deal. Haven't had a lot of issues. Maybe 1%. I've had a couple of bad people in there. But other than that, 99.9% great, paid my mortgage. But what I realized was like, if I just turn that into a studio, I can just rent it for the same amount, rent it back to our company. And so we're going to rent the space just about equal to what I made on average with Airbnb and rent it to our company. And so the company will rent that as a studio space. And I'll have that dedicated. Worked on that over Thanksgiving, actually, with my dad. We got the furniture out of there, the bed and stuff, and painted, hung up some shelves. Excited to unveil that by next week. We should have fully, actually, I'm getting just the floors redone, recleaned, just a good scrubbing. That's going to happen tomorrow. So Friday, we get to move everything in there, get it all set up. So you'll start seeing a lot more content, and it's coming from that. And I'm super excited about that. So it's pretty cool. But anyways, let's see. What's else to talk? Okay. What are you seeing here with growth on your channel right now with higher rates? Yeah, I mean, we've actually, what are we doing the last week? We just got three deals just over the weekend. It's not as much as what was happening at the beginning of the year. Absolutely, I will say that. We've seen lead flow decrease quite a bit right now from the channel as well. But the people, again, that call in they're ready to make a move. They're still in the process. We just again, these three under contract. I know we haven't worked with these clients for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, so the people that are still coming in are being very decisive. This is something I've shared with several times, that I've ran the numbers on our contact to under contract. Our contact to under contract averages 47 days, which means the first time. And what I did was I looked at, well, I didn't do it, but I had our VA, actually, not our VA. She is our operations assistant. I like to say she's awesome. And so I had her go in and go through our whole CRM and just look at all of our clients that we had under contract and closed, and looked at the very first communication that ever came in from there, and then calculated the days until, because whenever they go under contract, we have a trigger for that. So whenever they go under contract, we send them an email and tag them under contract. They get information. And so just had her calculate from the very first time they reached out to us to getting under contract. And then we put it all in a spreadsheet and averaged it out. 47 days to under contract. And so we're still seeing that timeline with the people that call in. It's just that we're not getting, 7 calls a day like we were getting in the first half of this year. It's dropped down to 3, 3, 2, 1 call a day. So we're kind of just seeing kind of go back and forth between that. Now, we also are not experimenting, but we've just implemented a new program, an ISA team to start working on listings. So now we are venturing into, paid strategies, but ideally the ISAs are a fixed cost. So all we need to do is prove conversion from that standpoint. And once we prove conversion, then we can scale that. And right now with an ISA team, and when we understand and we can prove conversion, that's going to supplement. Because the thing is that I think what I've learned over the last 2 years with this is, I think an organic strategy is a little difficult to control. Almost, I do believe if you increase content, you do increase opportunity. If you decrease content, you do decrease opportunity. But I just see things that just tell me sometimes that maybe I don't know as much as I think I know, which is, for example, when the market had a big shift in the end of August, September, we had one video blew up. Our fastest growing video ever went to 50,000 views within a month or so. Yeah, within 30 days, 50,000 views, pretty significant. But that became, September became our lowest lead count for the month of this year so far. So it's like, okay, well, if views go up or double and increase, but then leads come down, it goes back to my original thesis of, I don't care about views and subscribers. I care about phone calls. But then again, I do believe if you're starting out, you want to increase frequency. You want to publish as much as possible. I'm not saying over publish, but, minimum to at least 3 times a week. 3 times a week is just going to build your library quicker. and give you more opportunity to be found quicker. So think about that. I mean, you could do the math on if you did 3 videos a week versus 2 videos a week. You know, if you did 3 videos a week over the course of a year, that would probably be like giving yourself, that's like 4 videos a month times 12. So 48. So if publishing, I mean, that's like giving yourself almost an extra year worth of content in a 1-year time frame if you're publishing 3 videos a week versus 2 videos a week. That's a big deal, right? So you got to think about that, and think about that for just doing 1 extra video a week, going from 2 to 3, again, 48 videos over a year. That's pretty significant. So 24, yeah, no, that's like 2 years actually. Now that I do the math on that, that's 2 years. So if you do 3 videos a week versus 2 videos a week, that's like giving yourself an extra 2 years worth of content in that first year. That's a big deal. You know, that's a big deal, because if you stuck with 2 videos a week, it's going to take you 3 years worth of content to get what you could have done in 1 year. So those are the things you want to think about. Now, some people will say, hey, you know, 2 videos a week and will give you better quality. Well, hey, nothing wrong with publishing 3 quality videos a week. All right. So if you're concerned about compromising on that, I don't think 3 videos a week is that much more difficult than 2, you know. And if you're in that cadence, in that flow, or have your blocking time or anything like that, then it's just 1 more, you know. It's just that little extra that you're going to do each week, depending on how you schedule that out. And I think that'll have a big impact on your business. So
I think also too, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but just before I lose the thought, you know, it's important too, because if you think about this time of the year, I'm sure a lot of you guys are like this, but a lot of people just decide to do a lot of planning and preparing for 2023 in the months of November and December, because they're naturally kind of slower months for people when they're moving. And so if you're creating the content, you know, presence presents opportunities. And so if you don't have that presence ahead of time, then you're not going to have the presence when all of the traffic comes back in. And we've been hearing a lot of things from our mortgage partner talking about rates potentially dropping at the beginning of next year into spring of next year. And if you're not creating that video now, that's going to be an opportunity missed for you. And so that's the beautiful thing about video, is that even in these slow times, we're still experiencing 1 to 3 calls a day. That's more than the average person is probably getting during this time of year, which is why a lot of people kind of back off of their business and just decide to plan for 2023 versus trying to hustle and make, you know, their holiday season miserable. This is the time to kind of pack your video content in, and that's going to be the best use of your time right now. So I wouldn't look at it as a slow season. I would look at it as a preparedness season, because next year you will have more opportunities if you spend the time now creating the content.
Yep. There you go. Good point. Let's see. Living in Bluffton, South Carolina. I'm in a small market, Bluffton, South Carolina. Hello, living in Bluffton. Let's see, roughly 50 to 75K population. Do you recommend making 4 main videos per neighborhood rather than per town suburb? Yes, I recommend making as many videos as possible about every neighborhood and every suburb. That's what I would say. What's the population of where y'all are at, Krissy?
Of ours? Oh gosh, I couldn't tell you. It's small. It's very small. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head though.
Less than 50,000?
I'm sure. Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of cows in my town. Lots of cows and horses in our town. So.
Okay. What were you going to say? You were going to say something else?
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely, I would personally tackle the bigger cities first, and then kind of break it down to neighborhoods, because ultimately what you're going to usually find, now this isn't, I mean, you've always got your outlier, right? So I'm not going to say always, but usually what you'll find in TubeBuddy is that the cities are going to pull more traffic and more search volume than maybe a neighborhood. A lot of times you're bringing awareness to a neighborhood that someone wouldn't otherwise know about, based on the city that it's close to. So a lot of times I like to start and recommend people starting with the bigger areas, even if it's a town that doesn't have a huge population, and then use that town or city that you've already done a video on as a secondary keyword in your neighborhood videos. That's also going to push people back to the other video that you have that you've already created. It'll just help you further dominate that city, because ultimately it's all going to run back to the city. That's where people are searching, and that's where people are thinking about when they're actually considering a move.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly what Krissy said. Good stuff. Let's see. I got to find my place. What do you use for lighting setup? All right, we're talking all things light.
Tools.
Okay, so maybe I'll just here. How about we do this? If I no, I don't want to unplug from. Actually, you know what? Where's the link to this? Maybe I could just live stream in on my phone and add myself on my phone, because I don't want to disconnect my internet and everything from the computer. And I could show you, although I have all the equipment that's going to go in the studio in my office, so it's a complete disaster in front of me, but I could still show you around. But
well, we can share the tools setup too, because I'm pretty sure, don't you have a lot of the lighting stuff on the tools sheet that we have in the course too?
Well, I just have a ring light. I haven't added these, what we have now. These, actually, I can grab this other one because I don't have
the extra studio lights.
Yeah. So we actually got a couple in here. Oh.
Yep.
Okay. You can fill the time, Krissy, if you want to say something.
Well, I would just say with the lighting setup also, I mean, we've got them positioned perfectly because we've got our videographer. But one thing that you definitely don't want to do is add too much light. And so just be mindful. A lot of times you can get sold on the really fancy stuff from Amazon, but just know that if you use too much light, it can also wash you out. So
this is I actually have this one sitting in front of me right now, which is pretty cool. This is a soft light, but this looks like a newer NEEWER SL 60 watt. Yeah, these are expensive. I mean, this is whenever you want to upgrade, but otherwise in our equipment list, a $20 ring light is not that bad. Now, let me figure out how to. So that's what I like. I like these soft lights now. But yeah, I mean, a ring light, we have that in the equipment list, which is, I mean, we really give people the basics. And maybe we could do the pro version, Krissy, as far as we just should, kind of like what we did on the office video in the course. We recorded, we showed you how to do a starter office video with your iPhone. And then we showed you the professional setup. And so I guess I didn't really cover lighting inside of there, but when I get set up in the new studio, we could definitely kind of walk through that. I could walk through the studio setup. Maybe we could do that on next week's call, and then go through like the pro version of the equipment. But it's definitely an upgrade, and that's something that you don't need to invest in immediately. But at the same time, if you want to step up your game, or if you've been in the game for a little while and you have the cash flow and the funds to do that, I mean, go for it from the start if you want to. The team we work with in Houston hired a videographer from the very beginning, and so their videos have looked pristine from the start. As to where if you look at ours, it's there's a lot of different lighting adjustments and camera angles and things that we just learned along the way. I mean, go back and look at some when we first started these live streams. Hilarious. Probably should have did a little bit more research before starting the live streams, but I'm also the type of guy that's just like, oh, let's do live streams. Okay, start it out. And then 6 episodes in, I realized, oh, I don't even have my setting on StreamYard for high definition. So really. So anyways, all right, let's see. Let's get back here. Where am I going back to? Let's see who's next on here. So there you go. What do you recommend? Do you recommend shooting indoors or outdoors? I'm assuming you mean office videos versus vlog. I mean, I think you do what works for you. I mean, in our course, we go through outside, inside, and vlog, office video, those types of different styles. I think they both are extremely effective, and I like the variety personally. I mean, you could easily make videos in your office all day long, and that's your preference. I mean, and if you live in Canada, maybe you have to do that for 9 months of the year because you're snowed in. So, it's one of those things where I would just experiment with it, see what resonates with your audience as you grow more and more. But I like to get out and about. I like to get out. I like to show the town. I like to show the neighborhoods. I like to walk around, cruise around, learn stuff myself. I think one of the good times, if you look at our Garland vlog, it's kind of cool. It's Saturday morning. Go out Saturday morning, go to like the old historic downtown. Went and had coffee, check out the coffee shop, have some coffee, do a little B-roll footage, went over, found a little photo booth, jumped into that, and then we go have lunch at the barbecue place. All that, just kind of have a nice little morning out and about. And then guess what? If that's an area you're not familiar with, which I don't go to Garland really ever, not a place I hang out, but I know it's a highly searched area. It's a lower price point, but people are searching that area. And I just hadn't focused on it. But now, this is where I want to, again, just make sure that I'm encompassing everything. But I'm not very familiar with Garland, with what's going on, but it's very easy to go over there, spend the morning, hang out, have some coffee, do some of the things around, go in and out of a couple of shops, have some lunch. And then it's like, boom, then you can shoot that intro and you can talk about something. You're like, oh, by the way, I'm here in the downtown, just like I did. Went to the coffee shop, amazing coffee. Went over to the barbecue place. I tell you what, had the turkey platter. It was great. Talking about, and there's this cool little photo booth. And then it's like, all right, now let's go out in the neighborhoods and show you some homes. And the thing is whenever you get out in the neighborhoods, I mean, a lot of that is kind of a rinse and repeat process. So it's that's the easy part. But if I don't know much about, that area, just go out there and spend an hour or two, experience it, grab a coffee, grab a bite to eat, get some breakfast, grab some lunch. And then, you kind of make a little experience about that as well. And, but for me, I can also knock out, three vlogs in a city in one day, or at least over about a four to 5 hour period, maybe more like 4 hours. And so, sometimes I won't do that all the time, but this was just the time to get to know that area a little bit better. So you can do both. I mean, there's some people that just do all indoor videos. And I've seen some success with that. So it's a matter of preference, but I like the variety, and I know that's worked for us. Let's see here. And then, hi, Levi and Krissy. Learned so much from your course. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you, Vernice. I'm in New York. I want to make a channel living in the Bronx. Awesome. Two parts. The thing is, the neighborhoods of the Bronx are ranking low in keyword search. Doesn't seem anyone is searching specific neighborhoods like Riverdale, Pelham Parkway, etc. Yeah, I mean, could be the case. I don't know. There's a lot of people. I just think of myself. I couldn't tell you a single area in the Bronx. Of course, I've heard of the Bronx, but that just might be the primary driver. But I think you still want to cover all those areas, make content about that, because you do want to find the ones that are searching for that information. And if there's not a lot of other people doing it right now, then it's your time to capitalize on that and be the first to market off of that. But otherwise, you probably want to include some Bronx keywords in a majority of your videos as well. Or, name it Riverdale, best suburb in the Bronx, or Riverdale, worst suburb in the Bronx, or, a question mark, because you don't want to make direct statements, but anything like that. So maybe you want to tie in the Bronx with these neighborhoods. So, the best things about Riverdale located in the Bronx. So you just play around with that, and maybe you add in the Bronx into the titles and the descriptions, of course, and use that as a backup search option as well to do that. And then people, once they find that, they'll see, and then of course you can create playlist as well for those areas. And once people find your channel, they'll find the playlist. You just drive a little bit more traffic that way.
Yeah, the secondary keyword is definitely going to be the Bronx and everything. I mean, you'll probably do some general ones where you'll use that as your primary keyword, but ultimately all of those areas are going to need to lean on the traffic that you get from the Bronx. So that's something that I would just have in your default tags. I'd have that in, every single video that you do in that particular area. And that's where your traffic is going to get driven by. Because again, your responsibility as the real estate agent is to bring awareness to an area that is otherwise unknown. And so that's why we usually lean on the bigger traffic keywords. And, that way you bring awareness to an area. And then you're going to dominate those areas too, because I guarantee you, if someone else has done it, it's likely that they haven't done the secondary keyword support as well, which is going to be key for you.
Yeah. What's funny is we actually, we had our team meeting today on Zoom with our local team, and we had a special guest on. So, and it was funny. She's from California. I met her at some conferences, of course. We work with her as well, helping her start up a channel. But she got on today and she said, Levi, you want me to tell everybody how I found you? And I said, oh, sure. Yeah. I didn't even know the story. She's like, well, she goes, I do these masterminds in Dallas and work with some of the top agents there. And, she's been in the game for a while. And she goes, over the years, there was really only one person on YouTube. And she mentioned who that person was in Dallas. And she's like, that agent, he was the only person on YouTube. And so I was always, if I looked at YouTube or looked at Dallas or showed another agent, they would always pop up. And she goes, until one day, I was showing an agent talking about Dallas. And she goes, I started to search Dallas on YouTube. And she goes, all of a sudden there's this Levi guy. Just every single video. She goes, I could not even find this other person's videos anymore, which I know if I go on incognito or things like that, or I know that we've absolutely buried that. But the thing is that I know they run a successful real estate business. They got an established team, and the thing is they've had the presence. I'm not sure, and I can't speak for them at all. I'm not sure if they had the same strategic approach. And so that allowed somebody like ourselves to come in that came with the strategic approach, with research, with intention, and rank and just show up everywhere. And then, of course, consistency and the fact that I've done 20 videos on one area, in particular, and 15, 10 videos on pretty much every other area, just keeping that consistent, which was my goal. What I noticed was this person and a couple of others that were on YouTube, we've mentioned this going back to the 3 videos a week as well, is I just noticed everybody, the couple of people that were on YouTube in Dallas when I started, and I say a couple, and there's definitely a lot more now, but just 2 years ago, the couple that were on there, everyone was doing 1 video a week. And so that allowed someone like myself to come in and say, well, I didn't want to just double their efforts. I wanted to triple their efforts. And because they had a year, 2, 3, one guy has been on YouTube since I think 2012, so he had an 8-year head start on me. And that's really the one that I talk about, had 7,000 subscriber head start. So 8 years and 7,000 subs. But we've been fortunate to grow from there and pass them up. Now that's I know they're still doing business, but again, just from that subscriber standpoint, I believe from a volume standpoint, actually I know that now because I did meet this person the other day out in the mall. I never ever go to the mall. Never. I cannot stand places like the mall. And went to the mall. And I was like, well, if I'm in the mall, I'm going to go to the Nike store, the shoe store, just because I'm going to check it out, and ran into him in the Nike store. And it's funny because I was like, hey, I saw him and I was like, hey, and called him out. And he's like, hey, Levi. And so we knew each other through YouTube and just had that conversation. And I mean, he was very honest with me and just said, yeah, it doesn't really generate a lot of business from YouTube, generates more business from, the website and from his other marketing efforts. And he's got a pretty good sized team. Actually, offices in several states. But again, I know he does YouTube well, but that's the thing is we just came in and out published is what we did. So, and he makes great videos, and that's the thing and I respect that. So, but it's up to you on how fast you want to grow. How do you want to show up in your market? What role do you want YouTube to play in your business? For us, it's a primary driver. Now we want to diversify because we don't want to, have all of our eggs in one basket with YouTube. I mean, we believe 100% in YouTube and we're going to continue to make it our primary driver. But now, with the funds and the means and the budget to do so, now's the time to experiment in paid strategies and diversifying and figuring out other ways that we can, because I do believe paid strategies are a lot more consistent as far as the paid strategies. When you get one that works, you either turn up the budget or you turn down the budget, and it's literally going to adjust your lead flow. So, for us, we just want to dial that in, and then that's also going to give us the decision, do we want to grow the team more, the local team more, or do we want to stay with what we have and just, feed everybody? Because I will say that was a one thing if I could have done differently now is that, thinking that, keeping a core YouTube group. I think when we started to grow our team and we had the business to do that, and then everybody started getting on YouTube leads, of course, it starts to spread it out. You can't add, a ton of agents to your team and then, give everybody one YouTube lead a month, right? It's not the same as whenever you have fewer people getting 2, 3, 4 a week. That's a much better business model, a much better environment for a team. And so, that's something that we now, have our core YouTube team. And then from there, we dial in these paid strategies. We'll figure out if we want to grow a team or not, And so, but also we want that paid strategy to be able to supplement, times like this, to where if our lead flow does decrease, going back to Blake's comments or question, if our lead flow does decrease, then we don't want to be a prisoner to that one lead source, So it's I think very wise to diversify. In any part of your life, right? Diversify everything you can, ideally. Now, going all in, it's funny. You'll talk about who is it? I think Arnold Schwarzenegger. You see one of his old interviews, and he's like, "There's no plan B. There's only plan A. If you have plan B, then you have something you can fall back on, and then you compromise yourself. And if you compromise, then you are weak. And if you're a weak person, you're not going to be the strongest. If you want to be the strongest, then you got to only have plan A." So if you're going to have plan A, then yes, that's great. But once you lock in plan A and you win at plan A and you are successful at plan A, hey, it's time to add in a plan B, and a plan C. Just like with diversifying on platforms, whenever we started, only focus on YouTube. Are you going to find us on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok now? Yes, but we didn't even really dig into that till at least 6 months or a year later. We wanted to make sure we had YouTube dialed in. And so, those are the types of things you just want to think about and to move your business forward and think ahead of time. And that's why I love these types of things, because if we can help somebody think about some of this stuff before they get there, then it'd save you a lot. But otherwise, yeah, make content, Bernice. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. Just start making content, focus on the Bronx primarily. And then absolutely, like Krissy said, use that secondary keyword or the Bronx as a secondary keyword in the rest of those areas. So let's see, Art, what's up, Art? How's it going? It says, recently completed the program, have uploaded the first set of videos done for you editing. Awesome. Thank you for all the help now and in the future. Thank you, Art. We appreciate it.
Way to go, Art.
So I'm sure we got him dialed in, right, Krissy?
Oh, yeah. Team's working.
What market is he in? Do you remember?
Oh, I'm sorry, Art. I know we talked the other day and it's already out the window for me. I've got it written down.
Yep. All right, let's see here. Oh, Bernice coming back. Let's see. Oops. Bernice, let's see. What does rank high is anything about the Bronx overall? So would you recommend I do most of the videos based on just the Bronx? Okay. Well, I think we kind of covered that on the previous comment, which is yes, absolutely knock out the Bronx. But I would do 4 or 5 videos on the Bronx and then go ahead and incorporate, 2 or 3 videos. Try to do at least 2 videos on those other areas so you get the variety in there and kind of cover that. And then as you make 2 videos per area, let's say you have 10 and you get through 5 or 6 and you start notice the second or third one kind of starts taking off, then you can jump back and maybe make a third video about that area. So yeah, I would definitely focus on the Bronx, but just, do a good 4 or 5 videos just to get stuff out there in the Bronx, and then go ahead and incorporate some. No, we're just answering all of her questions ahead of time. Let's see. And then once I have good following, should I introduce more specific neighborhood videos? Yeah, just like, I think that's just what we covered there as well. So yeah, go ahead. But I would say, yeah, knock out 4 or 5, 6 videos, whatever you feel is really good, a good baseline on the Bronx, then add in Riverdale and do 2 videos on Riverdale, but incorporate the Bronx a little bit in there as well. And so, a lot of times if people are researching these areas, they maybe just be thinking of the Bronx as well, and they don't know. But once they find your channel and find the videos, they'll be like, oh, Riverdale. Yeah, I saw that on the map, I guess, just not as familiar and not really sure about it at all. And then they start researching, they start going down those rabbit holes, and that's what you want. You want your viewers to go down the rabbit hole so they stay plugged into your content and just keep watching more and more. Let's see, Living the Springs. I wonder where that is, the Springs. Let's see, living in the Springs. How do you get over your fear of recording in public? I always feel stupid or worried I'll get yelled at. Never been yelled at, not yet at least. So what's funny is I have been caught like in a neighborhood walking and then people's garage is open and people like hanging out in their garage, and then they're yelling at me from there, but it's usually just to talk, because they're curious. I think most people are just curious if you're out in public, but it's funny. I've had kids run up to me, and they'll be like, are you a YouTuber? So, you don't have to worry about the kids. The kids think you're awesome. And really some adults as well. I've had a couple adults approach me and, they're just curious. It's funny. We were just talking about this yesterday. David, one of our team members, brand new agent, we were out filming in the park and he literally had just got his license the day before. And David saw us filming in the park and he came over, introduced himself and was like, hey, what are you guys doing? We're like, we're filming. We got a YouTube channel, focus on real estate. He was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I just got my real estate license yesterday. I'm interviewing teams and brokers and trying to figure out who I should work with. And I was like, awesome, man. Come on by the office and we'll have a chat. He came by the office, joined our team, first year agent, brand new agent. And he's, I was talking about, he just posted in our Slack channel and it was really cool. I'm sure he won't mind if I read this, but he posted this over Thanksgiving. He said, happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful that last December, Levi Lascsak happened to be filming content at the same park that I take my dogs to every week. It happened to be the day after I had taken my real estate exam. I'm thankful that he gave me the chance at a career with his team. It has changed my life in so many ways for the better, and I'm eternally grateful. And it's just awesome to hear, but you never know what's going to happen. Try not to think about the negatives of filming in public and imagine what could happen. You could meet your next listing. You could meet your next buyer. You could meet your next agent. You could meet your mate, your next mate. Who knows? So think about the good things. And David, he's told me this. It's pretty amazing. He never made more than 40,000 a year in his life and was just really thought he was just, this is what he told me. He thought he was really just going to be like that regular guy living paycheck to paycheck. He had this girlfriend that he absolutely loves. and thought he was never going to be able to afford a ring for her, or even felt like, he could live up to that, live up to being the right person for her. And, this year, I believe just his portion, his splits from the work he's done, and he just turned out to be an amazing, brand new, natural, hardworking sales type of agent. At least 150,000 in GCI just from his cut from the YouTube leads that we've given him. So he went from his whole life never making more than 40K to, in his first year in real estate, 150K on his splits. And he bought his he's now engaged, bought his fiance, now fiance, bought that ring. And and he told me, he's like, he says it's all because of you. And I said, no, man, it's because of you. I mean, he's the one that first of all took the step to approach me in a park and inquire and ask about what I was doing. So he had the curiosity. He overcame whatever fear. David's not that type of person. He's a people person, but some people wouldn't just approach that way. So kind of going back to, fear of recording, you got to think about fear of approaching things, right? Or even in prospecting, when we go to knock on a door or cold call or something like that, there's that initial fear, but it's whenever we get over that, that's where the opportunity lies on the other side. And that, to me, I think is the greatest opportunity for all of us. And that's where you see the biggest successes is the people that work through that. And so, he told me, he's like, man, he goes, this absolutely changed my life. And I was able to, get my girlfriend that ring that I've been wanting to get her for so long, just never knew how to do it. And he's like, Levi, I've paid off all my debt. And that's the other thing. Another guy on our team, Vince, first year agent. I think Vince is closer to 180, 180 to 200K of his split of the YouTube leads we've given him. First year, brand new agent, in debt, lived with his parents, and, has his own place now, paid off all of his debt. And he's like, Levi, Travis, he's like, he's all in. He's all in. AJ was, from California, actually bought a house from us, found the channel, bought a house from us, and then loved it so much he joined the team. And, first year agent, I think he made 140K this year so far. He's now broken off to go do his own thing because he's very entrepreneurial. And I mean, how many first year agents can you say join a team and then within, 8-9 months later, they're like, thank you so much. I'm doing so great. I'm ready to go start my own deal. So he came from owning his own business in California, but wanted to jump on our team because of the experience he had through watching videos, calling us, then actually buying a home, and then it's just absolutely amazing. Preston, I mean, Preston was a firefighter. Now the thing is that Preston built up his own business as a firefighter. He did that whole 1 day on, 2 days off schedule. Said he'd be trying to take calls. He'd be calling, like prospecting, buying list, calling in the firehouse, answering calls, trying to work it out. Never, I think made more than 40,000 a year as a firefighter, but he knew that wasn't going to be for him. And he looked at all the guys 20 years ahead of him and thought, I don't want to be that. Nothing wrong with those people at all. It was just a mentality, a mind shift. He's like, I don't want to be in that position. So decided to take things into his own hands. Did a transaction with Travis actually. And he was like, man, Travis was just a different type of agent. And then Travis started talking about this YouTube thing. What did Preston do? Join our team. We've helped him also work on his own stuff and in our own backyard. And now he's generating deals from his own channel, and he's probably close to 180K this year as well, from what we've provided him on YouTube leads. Now, all of these agents closed their own deals, made it happen. I mean, we just handed the leads off, and they took control of their own destiny, their own opportunity. They put in the work, handled the clients top notch. And, it's just, that's the opportunity, but it's just working through that stuff. The thing is that if you're really concerned about fear of recording in public, then maybe go a little bit earlier, maybe go a little bit later, try to, find a little downtime if that helps you kind of ease into it. But ultimately, I think most people are just curious. And I mean, you ever seen a behind the scenes clip of Tom Cruise filming a movie? And look around, there's like crowds of people, especially if they're doing like a city scene. Imagine that. A city scene where they can't keep people away. And there's people to me, that's a tremendous amount of pressure. Think about when he's just doing a regular scene with there's probably like 30 to 50 staff there, right? Anyways, you think you've got a production we think sometimes we've got a lot going on, but I would just try to think of it in a different perspective, or try to maybe go when there's things a little bit less crowded. So if that's first thing in the morning, maybe you go knock it out whenever it's a little quiet and not as much traffic. Now, if that's the case, things are going to appear a little bit more dead, but otherwise, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I actually get probably a little bit more conscious in the neighborhoods. If I see a family or people standing outside of a house, that's where I'm kind of like, maybe I'll go find a house on the next street or something, just because I don't like to disturb the neighbors. If I'm out in public though, I don't know. I tend to knock it out. I think a lot of people don't even notice you, and the ones that do, they're just curious. So I would say just keep rocking.
Well, and I would say this too, coming from a recovering people pleaser, and one of my love languages is words of affirmation. And so when I was younger, I used to get nervous when I was in front of people. When I was younger, I actually did professional piano. I did competitive piano, and one of the things that my teacher would tell me to do is that I had to do practice performances, and I had to do 10 of them before every single competition. And the reason that I would do this, I'd have to do it in different environments. I'd have to do it in front of different types of people, different personalities. And then when I got up on stage to play with a symphony or to, play for the radio, I played for the radio once, I would tune people out because I was so used to having people there that it didn't even faze me anymore. Even when I had judges sitting there and I was nervous because I was going to be judged on my performance, and that was the whole purpose of me being there, I was able to tune that out because I had done it so many times in front of other people that I kind of felt like it was rehearsed, even though it was a new environment that I was playing in, and the spotlight was on me and my face was flushed, That's what I would recommend doing, is really, I would not wait for it to be kind of cooled off in the area, because that, I think, tends to be an excuse for people thinking, oh my gosh, there's going to be a million people out today. I'm not going to go do my filming today. And rather than having that excuse for yourself, because there's never going to be a perfect time to film. Okay. The sun's going to be covered exactly when you get there, right? The weather is going to be crappy. As soon as you get there, the one storm cloud is going to be covering your sunshine, or you're going to have a festival breakout while you're there. It's just all of these factors you really can't control. So I would just take some time, mentally prepare yourself, say, this is going to be a practice video. I'm not putting this on YouTube. I don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to go around and hold my camera in front of me and see what comes out of it. You may get a great video out of it. You may lose a video, but that was the whole point of you going out there. So I would practice ahead of time if that's something that you're really self-conscious about. And you're going to find that the more that you do that, you really, it really doesn't faze people around you. You may get a quick glance from somebody, but they're quick to move on with their day. They've got stuff to do. And another thing too is that I find that, when you have a really nice set of equipment, especially the stuff that we've recommended, most people really think that you are a professional YouTuber when you go out there. I know that Christopher, when we've gone out with him before, having the microphone, the phone, the gimbal, all of that stuff that he takes out with him, he's had people like business owners approach him, give them the business card and ask him to come back sometime and say, hey, maybe in your next video, you can mention my business. A lot of time people, they want to be involved. People get really excited when they see all of the equipment, versus you just like holding your phones. So just know that generally speaking, people are really not paying that much attention to you. And you kind of just have to mentally condition yourself saying, I'm not going to care what other people are thinking. I'm tuning the other people out. I'm here to do my thing. And it's just that practice, that mental conditioning that you can do for yourself to kind of get past that inner people pleaser. Because I think even people who aren't necessarily like that naturally, I think everyone kind of has a natural fear of being in front of the camera at first, but it gets easier with practice.
Yes, indeed. All right. I'm gonna have to get. All right. Maybe I should stop talking so long. We gotta burn through
We've
these.
got it. We've got a slew of comments still.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. What's up? Moving to Denver. I think that's Jamie. Would you recommend pushing out all of the suburb videos first versus doing videos on your area with a high TubeBuddy score? Videos in your area. I would assume the suburbs would be in your area. So I'm assuming you mean neighborhoods, maybe. But I mean, the thing is that if you got a high TubeBuddy score, then you probably got some good search volume there. I mean, again, this is where we kind of talk about search it all, rank it by top search volume, and then, but also if you want to adjust a little bit, that's up to you. So just like whenever I assumed Frisco was our top search suburb, actually Plano was, and Plano beat Frisco by a thousand. What's up? 1,000. No, 100,000. No, 200,000 searches per month. Plano was. So if Plano has that much higher search volume than Frisco, then I'm like, well, I'm going to start with Plano. So just because I'm going to give myself the most opportunity in the beginning to track that search volume. So I would search everything, all the areas you want to work, rank them out, and then I would go from there. And then if you want to flip flop 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, I mean, ultimately it's your channel. And in the beginning, it's just a matter of getting through the motions and getting the content out there. So
it's all evergreen too. So ultimately it's all going to rank at some point. So I think ultimately if you've got search volume, you've got a good video.
Yeah. Let's see. What are the challenges of setting up Google business pages? Not that difficult, are they?
No, they're pretty easy. I think what a lot of people kind of run into is trying to verify their location. So if you don't have an office, sometimes that can be a little bit difficult. That's an extra step that you can take if you do have a physical location that you actually can go to. Now, it can't be a PO box. It can't be like a virtual office or something like that. It actually has to be a physical location that Google can verify. Typically sometimes they'll send you a postcard. I think they've started to phase that out, but typically they just have to be able to verify your location. So that's kind of the major challenge that I hear from people, but you don't have to have that location verified in order to have that Google My Business page. It's just an extra verification step, an extra piece of SEO that you can add to your score. But that I would say was probably the biggest challenge. Other than that, is really easy to set up.
Let's see. What's up, Mary Jane? It's now winter in Denver, but I have a lot of footage from fall. Should I use fall footage? Yeah, I mean, I don't think that really matters. I think just publish as you get it done and edited. And so we'll have we don't have a lot backlogged. I mean, we'll trees are changing colors right now. If one of those videos gets pushed back to December, I mean, I just don't think anybody really pays that much attention to that. So
yeah, ultimately you're going to have videos in all seasons too. I mean, you want to show, the city in all different seasons, but that's a long-term strategy. So just film it and get it up.
Yep. Let's see. Would you recommend pushing out all the suburb videos you suggested in the course ASAP, or would you mix in videos on your area with high TubeBuddy scores? Yeah, I think we just kind of answered that. I think Jamie is moving to Denver.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we just kind of covered that. I would just do all the research first on all the areas you want to work, rank them, and then you decide if you want to do your number 3 ranked first. I mean, it's your channel, so I think you have every right to do that. And so it's a little bit of a science, a little bit of an experiment at the same time, right? It's a science experiment, actually. So, and what worked for us, just because I went with most searched in Dallas, who knows? It could be a little bit different. when you use a lavalier mic versus a shotgun mic, I mean, I use the shotgun mic every time now. So at least on my own. So again, I use that Shure MV88, which is a shotgun mic, but I use that every time. The only time I use a lavalier mic is on events. When we travel, we have our videographer with us, and he's recording everything separate from afar. So anytime I do conversations, speaking engagements, especially if I'm speaking, again, this kind of goes back to the beginning of appearing on podcasts. Like if I go on stage somewhere, I'm going to be mic'd up with our mic and the event mic, and so if you see me sometimes wearing a double mic, that's why, because we're recording our own audio, because we don't want to wait on the venue to provide the footage or the audio for us. Again, they usually do, not a problem, but sometimes it takes 30, 60 days for them to get back to us because they have so much post-production and all that other stuff. So from there, I wear a lavalier mic whenever we're traveling or I'm speaking because, Alex is with us. So.
Yeah, and it's less sound from like the wind and stuff if you use a directional mic too. So especially out in the vlog environment, I would definitely go with the directional mic instead.
Yeah, and what she means by that is that pretty much it blocks out anything from behind the mic. So what's in front of the mic, it's directional, meaning it's picking up what's directly in front of it. But what I've also learned on this is it picks up your feet. So don't drag your feet in your videos. There's a couple of times if I slow down, I'll kind of like scrape the cement with my foot just as I don't know if that's it's just kind of like I don't know what you'd call that, a crutch. Just kind of like when you start walking slow, you're just kind of like, sometimes you kind of start, well, don't do that because your mic will pick that up very well.
Dual use, good posture, good habits, and good sound.
Yep. Let's see. Do you ever get any pushback from featuring other agents' listings in your videos? Nope, never. I mean, walking down the street, nobody can stop me from walking down the street. So, and the fact that, if I talk about a house, I never talk about addresses. If you notice in our videos, we blur out the agent sign, and mainly because we don't want somebody calling that person from our video. But otherwise, the fact that they may actually see that, they'd have to watch our channel like a hawk if they saw, because likely that home will sell by the time anybody sees it anyways. But no, people cannot stop me from walking down the street that way. And I don't tell people what street I'm on. I don't mention addresses or anything like that. So it's never been an issue for me. And that home is everywhere else. It's on a lot more places than my channel publicly with the address. So, but otherwise, I don't see why any agent would be upset. Now, the thing is, if you're going to film inside, yes, absolutely. I know of some agents that will book showings just to go film stuff. I don't agree with that. I think you should always get permission if you're going to open somebody's door. So that's just something I would do. I would coordinate that. But I would not film the inside of a listing unless I had permission from the agent and or the homeowner. So that's what I would do. But you notice on my videos, I don't do a lot of insides of homes for that reason, because I don't want to coordinate. I don't want to depend on other people. It's a lot of time, energy, and effort. And what we do tends to work. And the ones we do get permission for, those are the ones we film the inside and we put those on the channel. So, all right, we got some Montana folks in here. All right, all right. Let's stretch across the whole United States. That's what I think. Montana. Now we just need some Dakota people. And are there even agents in the Dakotas? I don't know.
I don't have any in the editing program yet. So if you are from the Dakotas, let us know. We'd love to help you.
Yep. Hey, Levi, huge fan. Thanks for all the great info. Thank you. Thank you, living in Missoula, Montana. Art says that imitation was awesome. Yes, I agree. I've been practicing Arnold for quite some time, So it's just
practice performances.
It's just one of those things that comes natural to me. So for some reason, I discovered I can talk in Arnold talk. So, Art's in San Antonio. Cool.
That's right. Sorry, Art. I remember that now.
There you go. Catherine, what's up, Catherine? She says, just barely started, have signed up for TubeBuddy. Do we set it up before starting the course or as part of the course? Do we follow their setup process or does the course tell us how to? Yeah, no, well, you start the channel first because you need the channel to be able to link it to TubeBuddy. So yes, you'll go into, I believe that's, yeah, we start out with channel build out, which is establish the channel. So once you have that channel established, then you're going to sign up for TubeBuddy and link your channel from there. So, all right. Seatsy. I know that's code. Oh, and Wyoming. There we go. All right. Now
nice.
we get in all the country. Let's get in all the country states. What's up, Bill? Coach Bill? How you doing? All right. Well, man, 205. That was it on came right in their clutch. Thank you. Those last questions were the easy ones. So anyways, by the way, if you haven't already, go to passiveprospecting.com. Make sure you get signed up so you'll be the first to know when we release the book, Passive Prospecting. I'm super excited. I was just looking at the covers this morning. Everything's done on it. We just have to go through all the back-end stuff now. All the publisher back-end stuff, which is fine. And I got to record the audiobook, which is really cool, which will also be on Audible, which is amazing. So, but I tell you what, I'm super excited. Actually, Krissy, if you got a second, we should jump back on Zoom after this and I'll forward it to you as well so you can check it out. But
good.
So much good stuff in there. It's going to be awesome. Make sure you go to passiveprospecting.com and get signed up so you'll be the first to know. Also check out Passive Prospecting on iTunes and Spotify for the podcast. I mean, I tell you what, I think we put out a lot of content. I was just thinking about today. It's like, I know we've already done 3 trainings this week. And today I just felt like we covered a lot of different stuff and didn't, really backtrack on what we already talked about. So we talk about different stuff. So get the podcast while you're in the car listening. I think we cover some really good stuff on that podcast. I think it's great. A lot of good feedback from there too. So anyways, all right, check it out. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us today.
Bye, guys.
And Bill says, doing great. Thank you. Thanks, Bill.